Imagine sitting down to work, and within minutes, time disappears. Your ideas click together like puzzle pieces, distractions fall silent, and what used to feel like effort suddenly feels almost automatic. That's not luck, that's the flow state, and once you understand the principles behind it, you can engineer that feeling on purpose again and again. In this video, we're going to break down how to master the flow state so success feels less like grinding and more like gliding. You'll learn the core science of flow, the specific conditions that trigger it, and practical techniques to apply whether you're studying, building a business, training, or creating. If you've ever wondered why some days you're unstoppable and other days you can't even start, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll have a step-by-step, usable system for turning flow from a rare accident into a repeatable advantage. Flow gets talked about like some mystical zone only elite athletes and genius artists reach, but it's actually a measurable psychological state that you can learn to trigger. When you're in flow, your focus narrows, self-doubt quiets down, and performance spikes, often 2 to 5x higher than your normal baseline. In this video, we'll walk through the what, why, and how of flow, what it really is, the brain chemistry behind it, and the concrete principles that make it possible on demand. Then we'll turn those ideas into a practical daily framework you can apply to your work, studies, training, or passion projects. If you're serious about leveling up your results with less friction and less burnout, make sure you watch through to the end, because the final sections tie everything together into a simple routine. And if you find this valuable, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss the deeper dives we have coming next. Let's start by defining flow in simple terms. Flow is a state of complete absorption in a challenging activity, where your skills are stretched but not overwhelmed. You lose track of time, self-consciousness fades, and your actions feel almost automatic, yet highly precise. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who pioneered this research, called it the optimal experience. Neurologically, flow is a cocktail of powerful neurochemicals: dopamine for motivation and pattern recognition, norepinephrine for focus, endorphins for pain relief and pleasure, and anandamide for lateral creative thinking. Your prefrontal cortex, home of self-criticism and overthinking, partially quiets down. That's why inner chatter drops and decisions feel fluid. Importantly, flow isn't just about feeling good. It measurably boosts learning and performance. Studies show people in flow can learn faster, solve harder problems, and sustain effort longer with less perceived exertion. So, instead of forcing willpower all day, the real game is designing your life to invite this state regularly. The first major principle of flow is the challenge skills balance. Flow happens in the sweet spot between boredom and anxiety. If a task is too easy relative to your skill, you get bored and distracted. Too hard, and you feel overwhelmed, anxious, or shut down completely. Think of a graph. On one axis, challenge; on the other, skill. Flow sits diagonally across where both are moderately high. To access it, you want to choose tasks that are just 4 to 10% harder than what you're comfortable with now. Enough to feel engaged, not enough to panic. In practice, this means breaking big goals into slightly stretching sub-goals. Instead of write a book, you aim to draft one strong page that pushes my storytelling a bit. Instead of master calculus, you tackle a set of problems just above your current level. When you deliberately live in that edge zone, your brain gets hooked on the challenge and flow becomes far more likely. Next, we need clear goals. Your brain can't slip into flow if it's confused about what success looks like in this moment. Ambiguous intentions create mental friction. Precise targets create focus. Clear goals work on 2 levels. First, macro goals. The bigger why behind what you're doing: ace the exam, grow the business, finish the album. Second, micro goals. What you're doing for the next 30 to 90 minutes. Outline chapter 2, solve 10 practice questions, design 1 landing page. Flow cares mostly about these micro goals. Before you start a session, define success in a single sentence that begins with a verb. Draft 3 high-quality paragraphs. Complete one full workout with perfect form. Edit this video's intro sequence until it feels smooth. Clarity reduces decision fatigue. Instead of constantly asking, "What should I do now?" your brain locks onto a specific target, freeing up processing power for deep, uninterrupted engagement. Flow also depends on immediate feedback, signals that tell you, right now, whether you're moving in the right direction. Without feedback, your brain can't adjust quickly enough to stay in that sweet challenge skills zone. In sports, feedback is obvious. The ball goes in or it doesn't. In music, you hear if you're on rhythm. But in knowledge work or studying, the feedback loop is often vague, so you need to engineer it. Create simple feedback systems, timers that show how long you've stayed focused, trackers that mark problems solved correctly, drafts that you iterate every 15 to 20 minutes. Even quick self-ratings like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how clear is this paragraph? The key is reducing the delay between action and information. The faster you see what's working and what's not, the more your brain treats the task like a game, adjusting moves in real time, and games are one of the most reliable natural triggers for flow. Attention is the gateway to flow, and our environment constantly sabotages it. Every notification, open tab, or background conversation splits your focus and resets the clock on deep engagement. Flow usually needs 10 to 20 minutes of uninterrupted concentration just to start. So treat deep work like a performance. You create a stage. First, choose a specific space and time block where your only intention is focused effort. Silence or block notifications, put your phone in another room, close unrelated tabs, and clear immediate visual clutter. Second, create pre-flow rituals. This might be making tea, putting on noise-canceling headphones, opening only the tools you need, and setting a 60-minute timer. Do this consistently and your brain starts to associate the ritual with, "Now we go deep." You're not just removing distractions, you're signaling to your nervous system that it's safe to ignore everything else for a while. That signal is what allows your attention to narrow and lock. Underneath the mechanics of flow is your nervous system. You can't enter deep focus if your body is in fight or flight mode or running on fumes. Flow lives in a state called relaxed readiness, alert but not tense. Two levers matter here: baseline energy and acute state control. Baseline comes from the boring fundamentals: 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, real food, regular movement, and hydration. These aren't productivity cliches. They literally govern the neurochemicals that power flow. Acute state control is what you do in the minutes before and during work. Slow breathing, like 6 breaths per minute, can shift you out of stress and into calm focus. A brief walk, light stretching, or 2 minutes of eyes closed stillness are surprisingly powerful. Think of it this way: your brain is the pilot, but your body is the aircraft. Trying to achieve precision flying in a shaking, fuel-depleted plane will never be consistent. Stabilize the system, and flow becomes less rare and more repeatable. One of the most powerful and overlooked flow tools is how you talk to yourself. Harsh inner dialogue, "You're behind, you're not good enough, you always mess this up," keeps your brain in a threat state. Threat narrows attention around fear, not the task, and blocks the openness that flow needs. We're not talking about fake positivity. We're talking about performance-oriented self-talk, language that is honest, specific, and action-focused. For example, instead of "I'm terrible at this," try, "This is hard, but if I focus on the next small step, I can improve." Instead of "Don't mess up," use "Aim for clean, controlled form." You can even script phrases you repeat at the start of a session. "One step at a time. Curious, not perfect. My only job is full effort for 50 minutes. Over time, this kind of self-talk becomes an automatic cue, shifting you from anxious self-judgment into engaged problem-solving, perfect soil for flow. So how do you organize your time to support flow? One of the best structures is the 90-minute deep work block. It respects your natural ultradian rhythms, waves of energy and focus that peak roughly every 90 minutes. Here's a simple template. First, 5 to 10 minutes, pre-flow ritual. Set your clear micro goal, remove distractions, do a brief breathing exercise. Next, 60 to 70 minutes, full engagement with the task. No multitasking, no quick message checks, just for a second. Final 10 to 15 minutes. Review what you did, capture insights, and define the next step for your future self. Within that focused block, aim for just manageable difficulty and immediate feedback, as we discussed earlier. 2 to 3 of these blocks a day, done consistently, will outperform 8 to 10 hours of scattered context-switching effort. The key is consistency. When your brain learns that these blocks are sacred, it starts slipping into flow faster, almost on schedule. Flow isn't only for solo work, it can happen in teams too. Think of a basketball squad moving as one, or a film crew executing a complex shot. The principles are similar. Shared clear goals, roles matched to skills, and rich, rapid feedback. In collaborative settings, you want psychological safety. People feel safe to speak up without fear of humiliation. If everyone's guarded, attention goes to self-protection instead of the task. Leaders can foster flow by clarifying priorities, reducing unnecessary meetings, and protecting uninterrupted maker time for the team. During live collaboration, like brainstorming or pair programming, set tight frames. For the next 25 minutes, we're only generating ideas, not judging them. Or, our goal is a workable draft, not perfection. This keeps challenge high but fear low. When you blend individual deep work blocks with intentional high-energy collaboration windows, you create a rhythm where both solo and group flow become normal instead of accidental. Even with perfect systems, you'll sometimes stall. The worst move is to white-knuckle through hours of low-quality effort. Instead, recognize friction early and use micro-adjustments to re-enter flow. First, diagnose. Are you under-challenged, over-challenged, or emotionally blocked? If bored, slightly increase difficulty or speed, tighter deadlines, more complex problems, or higher standards. If overwhelmed, shrink the task until it feels doable. Focus on the next 5 minutes or the next tiny step. If your mind is racing, use a reset. 2 minutes of slow breathing, a short walk, or a quick brain dump of worries onto paper. This clears cognitive bandwidth. Also, watch your transitions. Scrolling social media between tasks teaches your brain to crave constant novelty, making flow harder. Try transitional rituals instead, closing your eyes and taking 10 deliberate breaths, or writing one sentence. Now I'm shifting to task. Mastering flow isn't avoiding friction, it's learning to respond skillfully when friction appears. Flow feels amazing, but chasing it recklessly can lead to burnout, especially for high achievers who turn every moment into an optimization project. Sustainable flow means respecting recovery as much as intensity. Your brain can only sustain deep, high-energy states for so long before the neurochemicals deplete. If you constantly push without rest, you end up in a gray zone, too tired for true flow, too wired to fully relax. Build cycles into your week. Deep work days balanced with lighter administrative days. Periods of training intensity followed by intentional deloads. Within each day, alternate between 60-90 minutes of focus and 10 to 20 minutes of non-screen breaks, walks, stretching, casual conversation. Equally important is psychological off time, evenings or weekends where you're not mentally rehearsing work. Hobbies, connection, and play aren't indulgences. They're where your subconscious consolidates learning, making your next flow session deeper and more creative. Let's pull this together into a simple mental checklist you can use. First, understand what flow is. A state where challenge and skill meet, time distorts, and performance rises. Second, design your tasks. Aim for that 4-10% stretch, with crystal clear micro goals and immediate feedback loops. Third, shape your environment. Dedicated deep work blocks, a consistent pre-flow ritual, and aggressive removal of distractions. Fourth, tune your state. Protect sleep, movement, and nutrition. Use breathing and brief resets to maintain relaxed readiness. Fifth, upgrade your inner dialogue. Swap self-attack for action-focused, honest self-talk that keeps you engaged instead of threatened. Sixth, respect rhythm, 90-minute focus blocks, real breaks, and weekly cycles of intensity and recovery. If you treat flow as a skill, not a mood, you can systematically increase how often you enter it and how long you stay there, turning effortful grinding into something closer to effortless excellence. Now it's time to turn this from theory into practice. Here's a simple 7-day challenge to start mastering your own flow state. For the next week, schedule just one 60-90-minute deep work block per day. Before each block, do a 2-minute ritual. Define a clear micro goal, remove distractions, and take 10 slow breaths. During the block, guard your attention like it's priceless, because it is. Afterward, quickly journal. What helped me drop into focus? What disrupted it? What will I change tomorrow? If you commit to that experiment, you'll start to feel the difference between forced effort and designed flow. If you want more frameworks like this on focus, energy, and high-level execution, hit subscribe, tap the notification bell, and share this video with someone who's constantly grinding but rarely satisfied. Drop a comment with the one principle you're going to apply first, and I'll see you in the next deep dive.